Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Learn Technology in 5 Minutes by Makerdemy. This is Nidhi and I am a part of the instructor team at Makerdemy. In this episode, we will learn about Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory, also abbreviated as Azure AD, is a cloud-based identity provider and access management service Microsoft provides. Azure AD provides administrators the ability to access and manage end-user identities and access resources. Before learning more about Azure AD further in this video, we will first see where Azure Active Directory is used. You will be surprised to know that many of you are already using Azure AD knowingly or unknowingly. If you are using Outlook, OneDrive, or Skype, you are already a user of Azure AD. While logging in to these services, you are logging in to Azure AD to access these services. If you have a Microsoft Azure account and are working with Azure Portal resources, you are automatically using Azure AD to access those resources. I will give you another example. If you are working in any organization using Microsoft or Office 365 services, you are using Azure AD to access Microsoft or Office 365 services. This is how Azure AD is used by many of us in our day-to-day lives. Let us first find out more about who uses Azure AD. First, it is IT admins. IT admins use Azure AD to control app and app resources based on business requirements they are dealing with. Azure AD provides powerful tools to IT admins for protecting end-user identities and credentials. Secondly, users of Azure AD can be app developers. App developers can use Azure Active Directory for adding single sign-on to their developed app so that the app works with a user's pre-existing credentials. App developers may use Azure AD APIs for building customized apps using existing data. The third is the one we already discussed. The services you may be already using as a subscriber, like Microsoft 365, Azure, Office 365, or Dynamics CRM online subscribers. In the classic approach for verification and authentication, there was a client-server relationship. Whenever a connection needs to be established, the client will send the server a request. The server, on the other hand, will check its database to find the user. If the server finds the user credentials in the database and completes the verification, the server will send the result back to the client. This approach faced many challenges. The main disadvantage of using this approach was that the user credentials changed for every application or service. For using more than one service, the user needs to remember different user credentials, which is very difficult to remember. Azure AD works on the identity provider approach. This approach is much simpler and it saves a lot of time and money compared to the traditional approach. Now, we will find out together how Azure Active Directory works. We will discuss here the same scenario of the client connecting to the server. Azure AD works as an identity provider for both client and server whenever a client wants to connect to the server. The client sends the credentials to Azure AD. In response to the credentials received, Azure AD will send a token to the client. Now the client will send this token to the server as a request. The server, on receiving the token, will connect with Azure AD and retrieve some basic information of the client to perform verification. After the verification process, the server will send the result to the client. In most cases, this process is done automatically once you request to use an Azure service or Office 365 service or any other services discussed previously in this video. This is the reason why many of us are using Azure AD unknowingly in our daily lives. Azure AD resolves the issues faced by the classic approach to connect client and server. Let us now explore some of the key features of Azure AD. Application management. Manage cloud and on-premise apps using single sign-on, application proxy, My Apps Portal, and SaaS apps. Authentication. Manage self-service password reset, custom banned password list, smart lockout, and multi-factor authentication. Business to business. Manage guest users and external partners. Business to customer. Customize user sign-up and sign-in experience. Device management. Manage how external and on-premise devices access your network. That is all, folks. If you like this video, smash the subscribe button and ring the bell to be updated about our future video releases.